Hello everyone, I hope you're well. Let's take a look at this picture together. Look at this guy. How old do you think he is? He seems to be around 30 years old. Now look at the two people in the background. They're his parents. How do they feel? They seem to be worried about him. You know, this guy has recently lost his job and his house. So he's had to move back in with his parents. If you were in his shoes, how would you feel? How would you feel if you moved back in with your parents? I personally would be disappointed because I would have to abide by the rules. So long as I'm under their roof, I would have to do whatever they say. I would have to abide by the rules. If you were 30 years old, would you live with your parents? I, for one, wouldn't live with my parents if I were 30 years old. I would get my own place and live independently. I would choose to live on my own. Now let's go back and take a look at the structure of these sentences. So what do you have in the first one? How would you feel? So would and feel. Oh, look, there's an if here. This is a conditional sentence. What do you have after if? A tense. Moved back. Ed. Simple past. In the rest of these sentences which show the result or the consequence, we have would plus verb. Would have to, would be disappointed. If you were 30 years old, again we have if. After if, we have ed. Would you live with your parents? The result or the condition, the consequence. Now, this is what we call second conditional. It is made up of two clauses. The if clause, or the conditional clause, whereby you would have simple past after if. And in case if is the first clause, then you would need a comma to separate the two clauses. In the second clause, which is the result or consequence clause, you would have would plus verb. Now, I'm not 30 years old, but if I were 30 years old, imagining I were 30 years old, so this is real or unreal? It's an unreal situation. It's a hypothetical situation. If I were 30 years old, but I'm not. But if I were, I wouldn't live with my parents. So are we talking about a likely situation to happen or an unlikely one? So right now, I don't live with my parents. I have my own place. But if I were to move back in with my parents, I would be disappointed. But I don't have to do that. So is it likely to happen or unlikely to happen? It is unlikely to happen. So we use the second conditional structure to talk about unlikely situations. If something is probable, possible, or likely to happen, then you would use first conditional, which you are already familiar with. But we use the second conditional to talk about hypothetical, imaginary, unreal, or unlikely, and it also refers to present and future tenses. So use the second conditional to talk about hypothetical, unreal situations in the present moment or the future. Now, we have learned the structure of second conditional along with three phrases. To abide by someone's rules, it means to follow their rules. To get your own place, it's a good collocation to learn, means to have your own home. And to live independently means to live on your own or live alone. Now, it's your turn to have a speaking practice. Please answer this question. If you moved back with your parents, what would you have to do and what wouldn't you have to do? What would be the advantages and disadvantages of living with your parents? Thank you so much for your time and attention. See you soon.